College
Even though we
football, man.
lost, even though we lost, y'all know how I feel, man. Forever, man. Forever, forever, ever. It's
Hey,
like this.
man.
It's like my
Hey, man. I
marriage,
picked
man.
I picked LSU too, man. So I was definitely surprised.
Man,
Uh, Winners and losers, college football. How we got
yeah,
it?
man. Out the gate with it, man. LSU, man. What the hell, bro? No,
Is that the
no,
reason why you weren't responding to anybody because of the
no.
LSU loss?
I was hot. I was hot because I wrote down a couple of things right here for everybody. So LSU was up. I felt like LSU dominated the first half,
Yeah, they
but
did.
but the score didn't indicate that. 17-7 doesn't indicate how dominating they were to me. Um, I look at this and I said to myself, Nuss threw for over 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, but the running game was a non-factor. A non-factor. Keo, I think Keo brought it up on the NBA show that he was worried about the LSU running game.
Hmm.
Durham couldn't get off doing anything. The running game itself couldn't get off doing anything. Special teams, bro. Let me put my book down for a second. What the hell was that? Dog. We left. First of all, I don't even know why we was trying to kick field goals, but nonetheless, let's just say that we make those field goals and we don't bobble or snap. That's 9 points we left on the field between the two missed field goals and the bobbled snap. When in reality, we should have been trying to score a touchdown. I'm not saying try. I know they were trying to score touchdowns, but our special teams was bad. Our running game was bad. Nuss was bad in the second half. And yet I still felt like LSU had a chance in this game up until, obviously when Marcel Reed sealed the game at the end. But they brought in Marcel Reed, Connor Wingman didn't do nothing. Nothing. He was terrible in the first half. LSU had him looking crazy out there. Boy, Marcel Reed came in the game. Marcel Reed looked like Lamar Jackson at Louisville. I kid you not. I felt like LSU didn't know what hit him once Marcel Reed walked into that ball game. It was like a total transition. It happened like literally. I'll go before we go to Marcel Reed. Nuss tries to throw a pass going to the left, but throw it back to the right. They intercepted, and from that point on, Texas A&M dominated the game. It looked like a
the
completely different matchup.
the
LSU's my biggest loser just because that looked like two different ball games. The first half and the second half looked
so
like
it's like so it was like Georgia when Georgia played Alabama.
yeah, it kind of looked like that. Like Alabama looked so great in the first half. Second half, Georgia looked so much better. And that's what made me and you say to ourselves, oh, Georgia's better than Alabama. We can see it. We see like whenever they show up. Do I truly believe that LSU, if they played Texas A&M again, would win the game? I'll be honest with you. I don't know. And the reason why is because Marcel Reed, if you start him, I mean, him and Moss did what they wanted as far as running the football. We literally could not stop him. Brian Kelly came out and said, if I was playing against LSU, I would run my quarterback because we couldn't stop him at all. He looked like Lamar Jackson. He looked like Vince Young. He looked like Cam Newton in his Heisman year. I mean, it was bad, bro. I'm sitting there
The
like, make him
the
rock me. Make him throw the ball. If he beats you with a pass, so what? At some point, you have to say to yourself, I'm blitzing everybody, and you're going to have to show me that you can throw the football. This was awful, man. I'm saying it's the biggest loser because LSU was primed to make a run. Even if they was to lose to Alabama next week, I thought they still had a shot at going to the playoffs because losing to Alabama is not the end of the world. And I still think, you know, next week, not this week because LSU and Alabama's off, but next week is a playoff game. That's a playoff game. Okay, you could throw everything else out the window. LSU Alabama next week is a playoff game. The loser of that game is out. You can think
I agree
about it.
with you. I
It's
agree
over
with
with.
you. Yeah, I agree with you with that one. The huge stat in this game for me was there's two things I point out with the amount of times Texas A&M rushed the ball, 46 times. The amount of times LSU ran the ball, 22 times, and it equals up to Texas A&M had a total of 242 rushing yards combined, where LSU 24. That's a huge margin,
Facts.
man. You got to run the ball. You got to run the ball because if you continue to throw the ball, it's just going to make you look one dimensional and too predictable. And last week, man, I told C felt like LSU had a better running game, and that game actually proved that they didn't have a running game with Moss and Reed. They just took over this game, man, and Texas A&M, they didn't pass the ball at all. I'm not gonna say they didn't pass the ball. They did pass the ball, but they didn't throw that ball that much though, man. And it bit LSU at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, Reed completed that one big pass. LSU had scored, I think, cut it to 7 or whatever it was, 6, 7, 5, whatever it was. It was a one possession game, and then Texas A&M gets the ball back. Reed comes out, he throws a bomb, they catch it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's one play. Sell out, sell out. He got to show me that he can stop. He can throw the ball, especially in short to intermediate routes. And I just felt like LSU didn't force him to have to make a play through the air instead of on the ground. We know he can run. We know he can run. That's not no surprise. That was evident that he can run. And I just felt like we didn't do a good job at all as far as containing him. And the crazy part is now we have to play against Jalen Milrow.
So do you think the problem was they couldn't stop Texas A&M's running game, or was it that LSU couldn't run the ball?
I honestly believe the momentum just once it was taken, like LSU could never recover from it. They just couldn't overcome it. It was almost like in the second half after Nuss threw that first interception. I'm being real. Look, y'all know I love LSU to the core. I just told you I'm married to this stuff. Y'all may like a team. I am married to LSU. Good for better or for worse. That's how I feel about LSU. At the end of the day, I really felt like LSU got in the second half. Bullied. Offensively, defensively, they got bullied. And I never thought I would see the day where an LSU team with all the athletes that they have would get bullied by anybody. And they played Alabama throughout these years. And even though they might have lost, I never felt like Alabama bullied LSU. In that second half, it looked like Texas A&M was talking trash to LSU, were pushing them around, and there was nothing they could do. I'm not sitting there saying LSU can't beat A&M. Maybe they wasn't prepared for Marcel Reed. I don't know what that was, but they for damn sure couldn't stop him. They for damn sure couldn't run the football, and they for damn sure they were terrible, terrible in special teams. And when you add those three things up, you can't run the ball, you can't stop the run, and your special teams was crazy. You get the results that you got this past Saturday night. The 12th man was rocking. Kudos to him. That blackout was fire to me. I will say that. Their jerseys was on point. And I'm not a hater, bro. They beat us. I would love to get a second shot at Texas A&M. I'm rooting for Texas
Yeah,
A&M to beat Texas. I'm not saying they will beat
I
Texas, but I am rooting for them because I want to play them again.
I I think Texas A&M, they're good, and I think they got the talent and a talent to beat Texas. But I do disagree with you. I think if they do play again, I think LSU will have their number though.
I
Second
hope
time
so.
around is a charm, man.
I hope so. Because I really feel
But
like LSU can beat them. Don't get it twisted. LSU just has to. They have to play better. But as far as my winner, I'll spin off of that game and kind of go back to another game, but kind of spin back to this one. And that's Notre Dame. Notre Dame's in the playoffs. That win this past week, as far as them not, as long as they don't blow nothing. I know they got Army, I know they got USC. Notre Dame is the biggest winner. You know why? Because there was some people on the show that actually thought Navy was going to beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame beat the brakes off of Navy. Beat the brakes off of Navy. And you know why else they're winners? Because Texas A&M beat LSU. And you know who beat Texas A&M week 1? Notre Dame at Kyle Fields. It wasn't a night game, but they beat them at Kyle Fields. So Notre Dame earned brownie points by knocking off Navy in a blowout, and then they earned brownie points by A&M knocking off LSU. I think Notre Dame is sitting in prime position. As long as they don't blow it, they're going to the playoffs. So congratulations to the Fighting Irish.